Joe Biden is not the droid we are looking for. Dyze in your house. Exclusively on East Coast Radio. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are that of my own and are not of my employer.
Nobody likes me. Nobody likes me. But that's okay, cause I don't like y'all anyway. And I don't like y'all anyway.
We have until November of 2020 to get our act together as a country, as a nation, to correct this injustice. And the biggest injustice in the world was allowing a foreign power to install a criminal into the White House and turn an administration into a fascist crime syndicate. That must be corrected. And we only have there's only one more election we have to correct it, or this whole thing is over.
If you don't know what Staten Island is, it's like New York's abortion that lived.
I never met any of the founding fathers, but I'm sure if they were listening to East Coast Radio right now and brand new episodes of Dyze in your house, they would agree with the sentiment. And you can follow us on Twitter at East Coast Radio. Get us on Patreon at East Coast Radio. Vote. Blue Wave 2020. Let's make it happen. East Coast Radio for the least heard voices. Every weekend. We here on East Coast Radio are trying to fight the rising tide of fascism.
The noun fascism is usually defined as a governmental system led by a dictator having complete power, forcibly suppressing opposition and criticism, regimenting all industry, commerce, etc., and emphasizing an aggressive nationalism and often racism.
Yeah, we don't want any of that in America. So we gotta stop it. We gotta put out the fire now.
Staten Island was no joke.
As liberals, not even as liberals, as Americans, as patriots, as people that like democracy. The only thing we can do right now to fix our country is use our weapons. And our weapons are our voices, our handmade signs, and social media. Get the message out there. Voting. Voting is key. Elections have consequences.
If you don't know what Staten Island is, it's like New York's abortion that lived.
Representing Staten Island. Staten Island was no joke.
Hey, yo. Who's in the house? Dyze in your house. What is the word, peeps? What goes on? It is the weekend. I am Jay Porks. We are back here on East Coast Radio with another action-packed edition of Dyze in your house. What is Dyze in your house, you might ask yourself? Well, this is a vehicle to get out the vote. We need people to vote because in this country, there's fascism on the rise, and we're not interested in any of it. Alexa, what is fascism?
The noun fascism is usually defined as a governmental system led by a dictator having complete power, forcibly suppressing opposition and criticism, regimenting all industry, commerce, etc., and emphasizing an aggressive nationalism and often racism.
Yeah, that's not anything that we want in America. We saw that happen already, and we don't want it again. And if we learned anything from our history books, if we learned anything from social studies class in middle school, then we learned what America was founded on. And what America was founded on is not the same principles that are being practiced in 2019. So what we're going to do here for the next, let's say 18 months or so, is make sure that you know the importance of voting. You can't not vote and then complain when people are watching the news and caring about our country burning down. Listen, Our country is on fire, and you need to grab a fire extinguisher now. It's not, oh, well, who had the matches? Well, I didn't, I wasn't able to light the campfire No, it doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter if you knocked a candle over. The excuses do not matter. We have to vote. And we have to vote Democrat because that's the one party that's not completely nutso at this point. So real quick before I get into what happened on Capitol Hill this week and what's going to happen next week, let's talk about polling. I always want to do a 2020 Dems episode. I'm never going to get to do it because I always get usurped by something, as you see already. So what I'm going to do is, if you follow Least Coast Radio on Twitter, which you should, at Least Coast Radio. If you follow me on Twitter, at JPorks, you might have noticed that I surpassed 500 Twitter followers this week. And I'm very excited about that. That made me very happy. But now, I'm going to use that and I have 500 followers, so I'm not going to see those 500 followers and then tweet about, oh, I missed the bus. No, there's important things, and I got a little bit of a platform, and I'm going to use it. And if you don't like it, you can hit skip on this podcast or whatever. It doesn't affect me. I'm not going to stop trying to save democracy because it might make me lose some friends. You're not going to have any friends in a fascist state. I don't think they let you have friends. So before I get into what went down on Capitol today, polling. So 2020 Dems. I want to do a power rankings episode. Doesn't seem like I'm going to be able to do that anytime soon. So here's what I am doing. If you follow Least Coast Radio on Twitter, that's at Least Coast Radio. Every weekend, we're going to do 6. We'll do 6 candidates. We'll do the 2 who I'm highest on, the 2 who I'm on, and the 2 that I'm out on. So, this week, and we're not going to, it's not going to be a whole list of every candidate. We're just going to focus on 6. And the ones I'm hot on don't necessarily mean that I'm going to be hot on them next week. So, if you missed it, at Least Coast Radio, because Biden is polling 30 points higher than any other Democrat. Now listen, Biden's not even progressive. Joe Biden is the only Democratic candidate who will do absolutely nothing when it comes to cannabis and taxation and regulating and helping states make it easier for businesses to use banks instead of carrying around cash. And you could argue with me all you want about whether you think a plant should be legal or not, and I'm cool with the argument. And if you don't want to have the argument, just take alcohol off the market. I mean, listen, I'm just stating, listen, if you think that this plant being illegal is okay, then you think God made a mistake. And if you believe in religion, then you also believe that God is infallible, therefore cannot make mistakes. So what's it gonna be? That's my question. As my grandfather used to say, what's gonna be? Joe Biden? Not gonna be. I know he's polling high now, he's got name recognition. So the hot or nots, I don't even know what I'm gonna call it. Strict 6? Pick 6? I don't know. I don't have a witty name for it. Least Coast Radio, we love Harris. We love Warren. Now, the reason why we love Harris and Warren is because Harris smoked Bill Barr at the hearing, and we've always been high on Harris. And Elizabeth Warren, who I know that, Ancestry.com or whatever, I know the Native American thing, but put that aside for a second, because the guy that got elected is a literal rapist and a literal pedophile. So let's just put aside, the ancestry gene for a second. Elizabeth Warren constantly comes out with policies that will make your life better. Make my life better. Wealth tax. Ultra millionaires tax. Wants everyone to have health care. Doesn't think pot should be on the same level as heroin. These are progressive ideas. And Elizabeth Warren is getting them out there. And she's getting them out there every week. She drops like a new one. I think she said it's time to abolish the Electoral College. Let's go. Let's go. So she's got policy. Middle of the road. The middle of the road who are not so, listen, Booker, Beto, these are second tier candidates who, besides the women, besides all the women running, I mean, Beto and Booker are probably the top, dudes I have. People probably wonder, where's Pete Buttigieg? Booty Juice. I'll tell you where he is. He's young and could use some seasoning. Listen, this is a presidential race. This is not potato salad made by white people. It needs seasoning. It needs seasoning. You can't have Karen's potato salad be the Dem nominee. And if Pete Buttigieg continued governing for the next 8 years, he would still be young, but he would be more seasoned. That he says good things, which is why he's not on my out portion of the six. He knows how to say things. When he gets heckled, when there's anti-gay hecklers, at the rallies that he holds, he says, I left for Afghanistan to defend that man's right to say those words. He really knows how to handle himself. And he says good things. And that's cool. He's young. And he needs some seasoning. And there is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with needing seasoning. I'm just saying. And we're out, of course, on Bernie and Biden. We're out on Bernie because, come on. Are you kidding me? And we're out on Bernie because this is the Democratic primary. And we're out on Biden because Biden is literally the only Democrat who will not legalize the plant that God left here. So therefore, Joe Biden would get elected, and he would make the argument that God made a mistake. That our Lord and Savior, God, who created this earth in 6 days, which is crazy. His son must have, his kids must have been carpenters or something. Created the earth in 6 days. Made a mistake. That's not me. That's not my book. That's your book. So that's something you have to cope with on your own. That's something you're going to have to adjust with. Oh, wow, I've been thinking that God's infallible this whole time. Well, there's a plan here. Just saying. So, that's the 6. We love Harris. We love Warren. We're okay with Booker. We're okay with Beto. We are out on Biden and Bernie. Okay. Continuing on. This week, I gotta be honest, as you know, I got a new job. This past month, I've been adjusting to it. So I haven't been rage tweeting during cable news a lot this month. And I'm probably not going to be doing that. That's going to be done sparsely when I'm off work. So I haven't had the cable news machine on all week. But I caught the important stuff. I caught the Barr hearing. And let me just say that, the sequence of events that went down this week, I mean, it's just hashtag Traitor Trump, right? I mean, this guy is a traitor. It is treason. So we got this Mueller report. Well, we don't have it. Nobody has it. So Bill Barr summarized the summaries. In his own words, on an investigation he did not conduct and basically told the public Trump is cleared. A letter from Mueller's office was sent to Bill Barr that said that Bill Barr has mischaracterized the findings of the Mueller report. Bill Barr went to Capitol Hill. He went to the Senate Judiciary Committee, and they grilled him. And Kamala Harris had him. She asked him if he looked, a simple question, if he looked at all the evidence with the Mueller report in terms of evidence, emails, grand jury information, subpoenas, testimony, stuff like that. Did he look at the totality of evidence before making his conclusion? He said he did not. Kamala Harris, who, as you know, was a prosecutor, as any Bernie-crat progressive will tell you, Kamala's a cop. Yeah, and progressives are $27 Venmo trash. How about that? Kamala's a cop. She's a prosecutor. And when she heard that a prosecutor, an attorney, made a conclusion without looking at evidence, she saw a red flag in that. Rightfully so. Was almost flabbergasted upon coming out of the hearing. Told the press, they were like, do you think he should resign? She's like, yeah. It wasn't even like a question. It wasn't even like, I have to think about that. Let me not make any rash decisions. After that, then the next day he was invited to talk to the House. And he didn't show up. Didn't show up? What do you mean, we can just do that now? So if I have a court case, I can just not show up? If I'm due in court, if the government summons me for something, if they say, hey, we want to talk to you, I could say, nah. I'm allowed to do that? Are people above the law? And that's what we're grasping with here. Are you okay with people being above the law? Are you saying to yourself, oh, well, rich people get away with it. Oh, man, people in power, they get away with everything all the time. Okay, you have a choice right now. We could change that right now. Together. We could unify this. Or we could have people like me begging you to vote. And we could have $27 Venmo trash out there. So my vote doesn't count. My vote doesn't count. I was at work today. Not today. I was at work this week. This has nothing to do with my employer or anything. And again, I will say this in the beginning, the middle, the end, all through the podcast. The views and opinions that I express on this podcast are that of my own and do not at all represent my employer. I did not even ask my employer for their views and opinions. But I was talking to somebody I work with who is from a red state. And he said he didn't vote because he said it doesn't matter. And I was so mad at that. I was so mad that there are people that don't vote. I mean, he's a small kid, so I don't think he's a progressive because he didn't look like $27 Venmo trash. So Harris nailed Barr on that. The House Democrats had a bucket of chicken in Bill Barr's seat because he didn't show up. Because he said he didn't want to answer questions about the Mueller report. Well, dude, you took the wrong job then if you didn't want to answer questions about the Mueller report. This is your only job. Why do you think Jeff Sessions... See, now, thinking back, how smart is Jeff Sessions for accusing? I mean, besides being the right thing to do, Jeff Sessions is like, screw this. I don't even want this. I don't want any of these questions, comments. I don't want none of this. So after Kamala Harris owned Barr, and I keep going back to my notes because it's been a long week, Lindsey Graham invited Robert S. Mueller III to come to Capitol Hill, to come to the Senate Judiciary Committee to answer questions. Here we go. Here's what I'll say about that. First of all, yes, I'm happy, very happy, that Mueller is going to go testify. And is it testify or it's just answer questions? I don't think he was subpoenaed. They invited him voluntarily. That's going to be on TV. Don't get hyped. And I'm not saying don't get hyped because crimes weren't committed. Crimes were committed. Don't get hyped because Robert Mueller is a very conservative, not in the Republican Democrat, I mean in life. He's a very conservative, a very dull, like, he doesn't, don't put your eggs in that basket. He might just get up there and there might be a bunch of questions that he's, classified, ongoing investigation. He might not give us much. Again, I'm glad he's there, but let's not sit here like, yes, once Mueller testifies, this is over. Like, if you've learned anything from the past 2 years, it is never over. The only time it's over is when you get out there and vote. No matter what. So, like, heard top of the show, I was like, oh, Joe Biden, screw that guy. He's not the droid we were looking for. Like, at the end of the day, I have to vote for him if he's the candidate. That's why right now, I want everyone to realize how important it is that we get a candidate in there that is like Harris, Warren, somebody that, even Booker, somebody that wants to forward the progress of America, not impede it. So Mueller's coming. A lot of stuff's going to be classified. He's just a dull person in general. He doesn't have much pizzazz. So, we will see what happens when Robert Mueller comes. And after the Bill Barr testimony, after the redacted Mueller report release, after Robert Mueller has agreed to come, or I don't know if he's agreed, I know he's been invited. Then we have a 90-minute phone conversation with Trump and Vladimir Putin about Venezuela and Cuba. So I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that I think it's odd that Trump wouldn't talk to Mueller about Putin, but Trump will talk to Putin about Mueller. Anything else? Like, is this a continuing theme of un-American behavior? And you might ask yourself, Jay, why did Trump call Putin? Well, Trump called Putin because of course he did. Because why not? What is even life now? What is even life? What are we doing here? And what happened to America? What happened to being American? Crazy. Like, I can kick and scream about it, which I want to, but I'm just so numb to this now, and that's the problem. And that's the problem with impeachment. The problem is that usually you impeach for something somebody did. But when we have such a vast array, the veracity of criminal things that have been done, the veracity of crimes that have been committed, when you have so many, and you try to tell the American people, okay, we're going to impeach. Why? Okay, well, here's 40 valid reasons. They're all valid, but it's a lot. It's a lot, and a lot of Americans, I'm sorry, a lot of Americans aren't educated enough to understand how bad this is. Which is why we need to focus on issues that matter to people that did not vote. For instance, we need the 18, 19, 20-year-old vote. We need those people to come out and vote. Millennials, March for Our Lives is marching to the polls. We need that. Okay? We can't spend our time trying to peel off voters who are wearing red hats, watching Fox News, those people think you giving health care is socialism. So those people are not winnable. Millennials and people that think a plant being illegal is ridiculous is all we need in 2020 to get back to where democracy is supposed to be. To get back to where this country is supposed to be. And we only have 18 months or so. Not doing the math anymore on it. We have not long to do this. Might be 14. 11. 16 months. We have 16 months to fix this. So, listen, end of the day, there's a lot of Democrats. There's a lot of them you like. But you have to focus on the ones that have the policies that are going to help Americans. Not electability, likability. I don't want to go have a beer with this person. I want this person to run this country. And the future is female. Future is female. Who run the world? Girls. And that's all I'm saying. Like, men have ran this country for 200 plus years, and we got to Trump. Okay? Let's not do that again. Future is female. Dyze in your house. Exclusively on Least Coast Radio.